Hello, Winchester. Hello, WinCam. Welcome to Visual Radio Live. It is the 14th of March. The Ides of March are tomorrow, John.
Oh, happy Ides of March.
Beware the Ides of March. John Goldsmith is here. He's a producer doing a documentary. We're going to talk to him in a second. The views and opinions on Visual Radio Live are those of the host and his guests, not necessarily those of WinCam, the board of directors, staff, management, members, and the Winchester community. And thank you to all our other communities watching us on Verizon, in Winchester on Comcast, and of course you can watch us on the World Wide Web at wincam.org. Thank you, Jodie Kellerman, for helping us with the audio and the video, and Jodie's great at lights, isn't she?
She's fantastic.
She doesn't take credit for how good she is.
She should take credit. This is an incredible job.
Just natural with the lights. She doesn't understand. I have no taste. She just magically does it, and I love what she does.
Artistic eye.
Well, John, today is a very strange day. Ed Schultz got demoted from MSNBC.
That's a shame.
Even though he's got great ratings.
Mm-hmm.
He had the 47% guy on last night that shot the Mitt Romney 47% video.
Oh, no kidding.
It was a great show, and they've demoted him. Like, okay. Keith Olbermann got a settlement. He sued for $50 million. Al Gore.
Mm-hmm.
He got a settlement today. We don't know what it is yet. And the Boston Phoenix, which sends me these wonderful packages.
It's very nice.
All these goodie packages. Closed shop today, and I got a package from them today. I think this is last week's package. Now, the Boston Phoenix just shut down today. Is that bizarre?
That's very bizarre. I thought they were doing quite well.
They probably print Boston Common, which is a very expensive magazine. They have a printing company called Mass Web, and they print for a lot of publications. So I would imagine... Oh, so you're a winner.
I'm a winner?
You're a winner. You just won some coupons from the Boston Phoenix. You got some final winning coupons from the Boston Phoenix for Qdoba.
I'm getting some free tacos later.
In Boston. See that? They're in Boston, but it's on ComAv, and exclusive employee offer.
Are we allowed to say the name of the company?
Yeah, we get it. It's free, so I mean, you know, as long as we're not endorsing anyone.
Yeah. Well, I love Qdoba. They are fantastic.
If you love it, you know, you can say that.
You should love it too.
Now you can't say that. So you
can love it. You don't have to love it.
Right.
Right.
The Red Bulletin. Now I don't know if Mass Web is printing all this, but the Phoenix sends me all these. David Bieber at the Boston Phoenix. And I must thank David Bieber because I told you I interviewed Jodie Foster.
Yes.
Years and years ago, David Bieber set me up with a movie pass for Stir of Echoes.
No relation to Justin Bieber.
Well, that was the big joke because Justin was unknown. David's a very big figure. He was a cub reporter for Billboard magazine back in the 60s.
Wow.
There's a picture of him and Lou Reed in the Velvet Underground when they were like unknown, and he's working for Billboard.
Wow.
Very dear friend of mine, and maybe I'll get him on the show now that he's no longer publishing the Phoenix. I hope he's still working there because they have a lot of different enterprises.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But so David sent me to the Stir of Echoes, and you could interview the director, David Koepp, who wrote Jurassic Park, Day After Tomorrow.
Genius.
You know David Koepp.
Oh yes.
So he was my first film director of note that I interviewed.
I know of his movies. I don't know of him specifically. But.
Great guy, nice guy, and we did an interview with him, and so I get these goodies from the Boston Phoenix, and I hope they continue, even though the magazine is now gone. So it's just kind of a culture shock because ever since I was a kid, they founded, an MIT student founded it in 1965, and Stephen Mindich was the sales guy.
Okay.
And then there was the Cambridge, they were Boston After Dark, and then there was the Cambridge Phoenix, and then Mindich bought like half of Boston After Dark, bought the Phoenix, had the Phoenix and Boston After Dark, and then they became the disgruntled employees of the Cambridge Phoenix became the real paper.
It's quite a timeline.
Way back.
This is way before my time.
Because are you a singer?
Some would say that.
Okay. I put out records back in the 70s, so the real paper wrote me up. I had the record of the year, the garage record of the year in Boston, thanks to the real paper.
Wow, nice job.
It was a significant day because myself and one of my colleagues, John Macy up in Arlington, is my sponsor at the Arlington TV studio. So we've known each other for 40 years. we said to each other, we really ruled because we were always in the newspaper, his name and my name, all the time.
Dominating the
Phoenix.
media.
It was a fun time. It was way back in the 70s. But it was a different rock and roll world than it is today.
Absolutely. It's barely a rock and roll world today, unfortunately.
There are more bands than ever before.
Mm-hmm. More that you don't know about than you do know about by the millions.
And I don't know if that's a good thing, because back in the day, the Phoenix had something called the Phoenix Band Guide, and there were 3,000 bands at one point in there.
For today, that would not be many at all.
When we were first listed in the Phoenix, there were only 10 of us, and there must have been maybe 50 bands or maybe 100 in 1974, but they listed like 10, and we were one of them.
Okay.
And it was kind of cool, so the Phoenix had like this band listing, and we were like one of 10 bands.
That's quite an accomplishment for back then.
I think that,
it's pretty cool to have.
We knew how to put stuff in the mail to people, and that was a key element of it.
It's kind of what you still have to do. It's self-marketing, and it's all about do-it-yourself now, and hasn't changed that drastically if you don't count technology.
Now, have you made a record yet?
I've been in bands that have released like EPs and stuff, demo
So you've
CDs.
been on them?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I mean, we've had songs on satellite radio. We played for about 3 or 4 years out in Hartford. So yeah, I love music.
You were down in Hartford?
Yeah, because I went to school out in Western Mass. In Westfield.
WSKB 81.5.
Yes, I was on that radio station for a few years while I was at college, and I did kind of a music talk show kind of thing with a friend of mine down there, and people actually called in. We'd have like contests and games, and they'd call in their answers, and it was actually a good time. People listened, We didn't have to be smart because we weren't all too bright, but it was a fun time. What
was your radio name?
It was we had 2 nicknames. Mine was Wilkins, his was G, so it was Wilkins and G Afternoon Delight, and we would always open up the show by playing Will Ferrell singing Afternoon Delight, and that cracked me up, and I guess that got people's attention. So
Will Ferrell did a comedy parody of the Starland Vocal Band?
Yeah, because when the movie Anchorman came out, they had that song on the movie, and Will Ferrell came out with an actual version of Afternoon Delight. So we took that, and that was our theme song.
I think John Denver discovered them, Starland Vocal Band, but that's how far back I go. Fascinating. So you had Afternoon Delight.
Yes, yes. And it was conveniently, the show started right around 12, so it was an Afternoon Delight for all.
At noon?
Yes.
How long, like 2 hours?
Yeah, it's a 2-hour show. So we'd integrate, talking and then play 2 songs, talking and just messing around, college guys.
Now, you had like walls of vinyl records or CDs?
Me personally?
Yeah, at the station.
Oh, at the station, it was just kind of, independent records and CDs. They promote local artists, so we'd pop in demos of CDs we've never heard of, just to get people in the door. Any exposure is good exposure. So if I had friends and bands, I'd play their song over the air, and thousands of CDs to choose from that have been shelved over the years.
Now, what's an oddity happening? NESN, New England Sports Network, or NECN, New England Cable News. I think it's NECN. They're doing a Boston Band of the Day. Okay. So every day they play a Boston band. Yeah. You have to upload to them.
Yes, that's kind of what they have out there. They have, I think it's called Laser. That's not out here, is it, Laser?
Laser, I don't know it.
Out there, I think it's Laser 99.3. It's a Springfield station. And they would do the same thing. If you're in a local band, they'd say, if you're an unsigned band, send in your tracks, we'll pick the good ones, and then we'll play them over the air. And a lot of bands got discovered that way.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
FNX had the Boston Accents show. Now, they sold the FNX radio station. Still had it on FNX Online, and that stopped today. Or it stops this week. That's kind of... I just sent them a whole package of stuff. My new record. I have a new record out. Back in 1992, I had a radio show on 93.7 WCGY. Yep. Do you ever remember that station, the Rock Garden?
I don't think that was before my time. Well, I was like 3 years old.
93.7, but...
You say back in 91?
91, 92, yeah.
Okay. I was more the jam in 94.5.
Oh, okay.
until 2000,
They were a rock station up there, and So we would do a show. We had a Sunday night music show, 4 hours, Boston Music Showcase. I was the producer.
Cool.
So in it, we did the demo that got the deal. So we'd have Greg Hawkes of the Cars come up and talk about the demo that got them the deal.
Nice.
Because I was there when the Cars did their first show. I was at their very first gig. Because I knew those guys in Boston.
Where was that in Boston? Do you remember?
The Rat, the old Rathskeller, which now is the Hotel Commonwealth.
Wow.
We used to live at the Rat.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever see Aerosmith or any of those guys come by?
I just wrote to Joe Perry's kids today because they were supposed to be on the show. See, Joe's two wives, Alyssa and Billy, are both dear friends of mine. So Joe Perry can't get away from me.
Right.
We come from the same scene. I saw Aerosmith before they were signed.
He keeps his circle very tight-knit, I guess.
Who does?
Joe Perry.
He's got his kids. They've got a band called Tab.
Okay.
T-A-B.
Are they in Boston, or do you know what's going on with them?
They just played TT the Bears. I just wrote them and said, hey, where are you guys? Because I didn't know you were TTs.
That's a tough act to follow. Being the son of Aerosmith and trying to start your own band, regardless of who you are.
They got on Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, for this day and age, it's a great thing to be sons of Aerosmith.
Yeah, financially.
Well, not only that,
But you get your leg in the door much quicker than most people.
Yeah, and they're good. I mean, Adrian Perry was on my show because Alyssa's a dear friend of mine. So Alyssa came here to Boston. Mm-hmm. So Adrian was on the show because he did this demo. Well, this is really funny. I was on 91.5 up here in Medford, and I got the demo and I played it, and it got like in the Boston Globe and the names in the news. Mm-hmm. So that was from Alyssa. And Billy, who's a friend of mine too, Billy puts it in the Herald. But it's like they weren't jumping on it until I put it on the radio. You know, Alyssa had Adrian send it to me, and then he was on my TV show. Yeah. And they're both my friends, but I think there was a little jealousy going on from one side because I put it in the Globe and Alyssa was thrilled, and all of a sudden it's in the Herald. So I figured, okay, one of the wives got on the phone with the Herald, but it was still it was good for Adrian. And then he was out playing Red House, the Jimi Hendrix song, with his dad in Europe. Okay. Great guitar player, Adrian. Mm-hmm. So Adrian's Joe Perry's first son from Alyssa. Okay. Now, Anthony Joe Perry, I was over their house for like Thanksgiving, like 1986. I think it was 86. I'm over their house for Thanksgiving. They were living in Somerville. And Billy comes over and puts the baby on my knee. So Joe Perry's playing guitar with my guitarist, Brian Bradley. You know, well, he's playing guitar for Brian, and I'm like, Joe Perry is a lot better than people even realize, because I'm in his house watching him. His dexterity was amazing. Yeah. I mean, he was like...
He dumbs it down for Aerosmith, even though you can't really tell.
He's really good.
Yeah.
They put the baby on my knee, Tony. Now, he's like 24 now, you know, and he's in this band with his brother. Yeah. And I said to him, I met you once. You were like 3 months old, and your mother puts me on my knee at Thanksgiving. And I'm like, I don't want to drop the $1 billion baby. Don't put him on my knee.
There's a lawsuit in your hands right there.
It was pretty funny. But
that's a good story for him to be listening to right now, 24 years later.
No, I emailed it to him, so I don't want him to even see this.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to be redundant, but
that's probably, yeah, exactly.
It's funny for you to hear.
Yeah,
because he's now out there playing, you know. And
it's a story most people don't have. You know, having Joe Perry's
son on your knee.
Son on your knee. It doesn't happen very often.
But his
Maybe
mom,
it does, I don't know.
I have a record label.
Yeah.
And his mom was the art director of my record label.
Okay, cool.
So I signed Mo Tucker of the band The Velvet Underground, the drummer.
Yeah.
She was a housewife with 5 kids in Arizona. She didn't realize how big she was. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not worthy. I've got Mo Tucker on my label, you know. And she didn't realize why I'm sending her these letters. She must have thought I was in love with her. I'm sending these long letters to her. You are the greatest, you know. It might have intimidated her, but it was awesome. We put her record out. Joe Perry's wife, did the cover. Before she was Joe Perry's wife. Yeah. She was married to another fellow, Willie Loco Alexander.
Like all the graphics and artistic and all, whatever.
So, you know, she's well, if you get the Walk This Way book by Aerosmith, have you seen that one?
Like the tablature?
The big book, Walk This Way.
Oh,
no, the biography.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In there's the picture of Billy, which was one of the record covers we had.
Okay.
Of her husband at the time, Willie Alexander. And you open the Aerosmith book, and there's the cover for my record label. It's pretty funny.
That's pretty. There's bragging rights right there, you know.
They're just
friends
of mine. It's just, you know, it is what it is. But no, so you know, Billy thought nothing of putting her kid on my knee, but I'm like, don't put
holding on to that kid for dear life, you know. Please don't, you know.
I'd be a good babysitter. I'd just turn up the volume and give them their bottle and...
Give them a guitar. You never know what's going to happen. Just hand the baby the guitar. He could be born with that kind of a skill, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, get him started at an early age.
So they're out there about and about, and they're going to be on the show at some year. I was going to go out and film them in Brookline, but, you know, they're great. But Adrian sent me this demo, and it sounded like the Beatles, and I'm saying, good, you don't sound like Dad's band. Excellent.
Very good point.
B, these are really good songs. So I started playing it on 91.5, and I got it to the Globe, and it got in there. And it was on visual radio.
Cool.
So that was fun. So the demo that got the deal, I put out a new version of it, and I just mailed it to the Phoenix, and that's how we got on this. And the Phoenix closes down.
Go figure. You had a good run.
Yeah, and you got some coupons out of it.
I got
and
some
do too.
coupons.
And, you know, I got Boston Common, which is like a very expensive magazine, which I will not buy on the stand, but if someone wants to give it to me for free, I'll take it. Not that I can do anything with it. This is like a fashion mag.
I'm not sure.
I think it's like in hotels and stuff.
Okay. Just kind of a lifestyle magazine.
Yeah. You know why the Phoenix closed down? They're keeping the Portland Phoenix and the Rhode Island Phoenix open. But they shut down the Boston Phoenix. It was doing well locally.
These are all magazines?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a magazine guy.
Well, the Boston, when I was in college,
the
Phoenix was like a quarter, but you get it free at college. They put piles of them.
Yeah, just trying to promote the name.
No, it was just the advertisers loved that it was free to colleges, so the advertisers pay more money.
Okay.
Knowing they were getting all the students.
Yeah.
There'd be all student-oriented ads in there. People didn't get it on the outside, but if you went to a college, you knew.
Right.
You didn't see them at Westfield? They didn't pile them up outside?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure I glanced at it. I mean, they always have newspapers and stuff for free, so I may even have a copy myself.
What were you taking at college?
I was majoring in communications, specifically media arts, video production. I was also in bands on the side, which is what I really wanted to do. I was going to college, in my mind, as a backup, but who doesn't want to be a rock star? And we had some pretty good shows, so that's kind of what I was putting all my effort into, writing songs, and I was on GarageBand every night, you know, producing beats and whatever. So
that's funny.
Yeah, that was my college life.
But now you're doing a movie in the other room.
Yes.
Can we talk about the title?
Absolutely. It's called World Hypnotism Day. It's based on the event, the annual event that took place this past January, on January 6th at the Woburn Hilton, and it was World Hypnotism Day. Did
you videotape?
Yeah, I filmed the entire thing.
Oh, whoa.
I was kind of like the special videographer of the day. So it was my first real big project. You know, I set up one stationary cam in the back, doing my zooms and pans and really working on my framing. And then while I had that going on, I had a B-roll camera going around on a monopod, getting different angles. So I was really into it. I had a lot of fun.
Did you see Paul from the Burlington Hypnosis? He has a TV show.
I've heard of
Hypnosis.
I've heard of Paul. I'm not sure. I'm sure he was aware of the event. I haven't met him personally.
We just emailed today. Paul's going to be on the show. I'm not saying his last name begins with G because I can't pronounce it. I can pronounce my name, Viglione, but yeah, Paul G from Healthy Hypnosis TV show, which is a very famous TV show around here. He's on a lot of stations.
Okay.
As we are. We're on 24 stations. Paul's pretty healthy on the stations with Healthy Hypnosis. So, hypnosis.
Yes.
Do people really go under?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's no joke. I've been hypnotized dozens of times. You know, some for fun, some for... Well, first day at college, this is kind of how I learned about it. They had a stage hypnotist. His name was Dan LaRosa. So what you really got to do when you start college is get your foot in the door, get your name out so it's not awkward, feel comfortable. And I volunteered for hypnosis. He put me out like a light. So I got so interested in that I wanted to find out more, yada, yada, yada. Here I am filming this event.
They don't make you do silly things, do they, in front of people?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it's not a show if they don't do that. And I've got all that on video.
But so you saw consciously later what you did subconsciously?
At this event?
Yeah. No. When you
previously
in college.
Well, it wasn't videotaped, so I didn't see myself.
Oh, I thought, okay.
But what he does is he programs you subconsciously to snap out of it at a certain time, and you remember everything. So I left the room. I had no idea what happened, and when I got back to my apartment, I remembered the entire night. And I did some pretty stupid stuff.
So you remembered what you did?
Oh yeah, I still remember what I did.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's real. It's not what most people think it is, which is the funny thing, but it's real.
Now, I've had this show since, this is my second show. My first one was 79.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started this up again in 1995. And one of the key things I wanted to do was have hypnotists on, just for the fun of it. And I haven't done it yet in in 18 years.
Oh yeah, that'd be a fun show.
So Paul should be good.
Absolutely. And they're fun people to talk to. They're not just brilliant in what they do. They're very interesting. Yeah.
You know, between hypnotists and chiropractors and people working people. Yeah, intriguing conversation. So this is communications, right? So you went to school for communications, and we're doing communicating right here.
We're communicating. And
we're on the web. And have you heard anything about TV migrating to the web? This is what a conversation that's now starting.
Yeah, I do it myself every day. Whatever programs I can find online, I watch on my computer.
So you're watching on your computer rather than on TV?
I mean, certain things, like I stream daily shows if I miss them when they're, on the air. So not everything, a couple shows.
I still have my TV from 1982, 83. Does
it have color?
Yeah.
Antennas and stuff?
So it's like 30 years old. Okay, we discussed it. My roommate and I talk about it. Like, our friends got those things, the big, and they're inexpensive enough now, right? The flat screens.
Yeah.
But everything's fine. I plug it into my
if it works
cable.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
It's an antique.
Well, it works.
Yeah.
And I like it, and I'm used to it, and it's been with me half my life. So, it's why change?
If it works, it works.
Right.
Yeah.
With all this stuff flying at you, you don't have to go to flat screen. You're at restaurants enough. You got it there.
Mm-hmm. You have flat screens in the bathroom in half the places now.
And you know what's annoying is the speakers are horrendous.
In these new TVs?
With everything. Even Bose, a great company, you go into I won't say all the coffee shops, and everyone knows what I'm talking about. All the restaurants, it's harsh. It's not you're not getting any bottom end. You're getting all treble.
Yeah.
And
you're just talking about in general when you go into restaurants and stuff.
Yeah. It's all treble, and it's all poorly recorded. The music is recorded fine. They master it improperly for earbuds.
Yep.
When I was a kid, they were mastering records for transistor radio.
Right.
But you'd have to
vinyl.
You have to really do a great job of mastering it, meaning the sound would have to be well-rounded.
It was all analog too, which is much more difficult to, I'm not a recording engineer, but I know the basics. I'm sure it's much more difficult to master than digital.
No, actually, analog.
Never mind.
I've produced all sorts of records, and for close to 40 years now.
Wow.
And analog is easier to master to me, because this digital stuff, you're getting a lot of high end. Now it's getting better, of course, as the technology improves. But still, people will send MP3s and want you to use it as a master. I'm like, don't you understand what you just did with the MP3? They don't understand the science behind it.
Right. Neither do I.
Well, you're dealing with ones and zeros, and MP3s are really squished. I mean, you're throwing.
It's a compressed file.
Yeah.
Right. So they're further compressing that, which ruins the quality of it.
It's kind of like a Xerox machine, I think. And you Xerox a copy, and then you Xerox again, and you Xerox again, and you're losing the integrity. But the human ear can deal with it, and the earbuds are a whole other thing. You're not getting great, wonderful speakers that you go into a tweeter store or some high-end audio store and listen to and say, I like the feel of this. It all is feel. It's more than technical. It's how you approach the sound, just like color.
Right. I mean, earbuds are, it's, for someone, I don't want to sound pretentious, but I appreciate music so deeply and what really goes into it when you really look behind it. And when you're listening to earbuds, you lose all the finesse, all the layers that are really going on in these songs that you don't even know are happening. When you put on a pair of nice Bose headphones, you're thinking, oh my God, I never noticed that before, everything going on all around me. But yeah, it really does kind of dumb down the sound, and it's kind of unfortunate that the industry is going that way, but
well, another thing is, these are fluorescent lights, right? They look like fluorescents.
I believe so.
And a fluorescent light flickers, I believe, twice every second. You got AC/DC current, so it goes down to zero, below it, and above it.
Yeah.
So it flickers twice, but you don't see it, but it does wear on your nervous system. Digital music does the same thing. Now we're talking about what's easier to master, digital or analog. Well, if you have a good mastering engineer, they're both similar, but I like mastering analog better because I like having a nice full-bodied sound.
Right.
Rob Fraboni, who produces the Rolling Stones and worked with the Beach Boys and Bob Dylan, he has something called Real Feel. So what Rob does is he fills in the blanks on digital music because there's a lot of, with the ones and zeros, you're getting holes in the digital, kind of like the flicker. It's the same principle as the fluorescent light flicker.
Okay.
When that light flickers, you don't see it, but it's there. So he does a thing where if you're playing digital music, he can make your arm go right down. You have really no power, almost like a hypnotist.
Really?
Then he plays a vinyl record, and you have your strength back. The digital sound is doing something to your nervous system. His Real Feel on digital puts it back in to give the integrity of the music back, because with all these digital transfers, it's very harsh.
Does it have to do with the frequency or the, I mean, there's a physics behind that.
There is a physics. I don't think it's the frequency, but I'm not an engineer. I'm a producer. Big difference.
That could be used dangerously if in the wrong hands, controlling people with music, even though it's still happening today, but.
Well, people go to sleep at the libraries under fluorescent lights. People at the, Winchester Public Library has fluorescent lights, and I find myself getting very sleepy there because it wears on your nervous system.
Mm-hmm. And wow.
You ever notice that a regular old light bulb, if you're at your desk, you're pretty alert.
Yes.
But if you're under fluorescent, you get a little sleepy.
I have noticed that actually. I mean, I noticed my eyes hurt in fluorescent lighting, but I never noticed the. I guess I have. I just never noticed it.
So now you've interviewed. You've taped the hypnotists, and now this is a whole psychological thing of lights flickering and digital music. So the masses don't get it, that they're being assaulted with sound, and you're right, maybe it's something nefarious going on, maybe something sinister.
Well, they use it in shopping malls. I know it's strategic there, that it must be something to, comfort you when you're in the middle of these shopping malls. It's all the fluorescent lighting. I've heard. I know there's tricks to it. I couldn't tell you what they are. But, it's all done consciously. You
know about the subliminal programming in the movies in the 1950s? Do you know about the popcorn thing?
No.
Okay. What is it, 34 frames a second film goes by?
32,
Films go
34.
by the way.
I think 34, 32, something like that.
32, 34 frames a second.
Yeah.
Inside a couple of the frames, the old movies would put popcorn, buy popcorn. They would put commercials.
Subliminal messaging. Right.
Subliminal messaging, and they were caught, and it was stopped, allegedly stopped. So, but whenever something's stopped, they find loopholes around it.
Right.
So we're being subliminally programmed all the time.
Oh, yeah.
John, you're a DJ. What do you think of Christmas music before Thanksgiving?
Well, Thanksgiving isn't really Thanksgiving anymore. I think it's like Lewis Black said, Christmas Part 1. So, Thanksgiving Day used to be about, the Native Americans and making peace. But you're watching Santa Claus come down the road in a parade. I'm totally confused. So
it's November.
Yeah, it's just whatever. You're not going to stop it.
I bring it up because, do you think people demanded Christmas music before Thanksgiving?
I don't think they demanded it. I just think it's when most people want to get into the spirit, and it's a marketing thing.
I disagree.
Really?
I agree with you. It's a marketing thing.
Yeah.
I disagree that people buying into it. I think it's forced on us so that people get into the holiday spirit and buy more.
Yes. No, I agree with that.
So I don't think that people really want to hear Christmas music.
Oh, I don't think it's. I mean, they probably think they do just because it's put on them. But it's absolutely used to sell more earlier.
So you're a musician and you're a filmmaker now, a producer.
Yeah.
Don't you think people like us ask more questions than some people just live their lives?
Yes. I definitely think that, or actually I know that, because we analyze. We want to know what makes things happen so we can recreate them, twist them, and create something new. Just personally what I think. I like to see something done a typical way and, change it, for lack of a better word, but you know what I'm talking about. You know, dissect it and make something new. I like being creative.
When was World Hypnotism Day at Woburn?
It was in Woburn, at the Hilton.
At what day? When was it?
On January 6th. The actual Hypnotism Day, World Hypnotism Day, is January 4th.
Okay.
My birthday.
Happy birthday.
Man. Thank you.
So, January 6th, you taped this.
Yep.
Now, you've been editing it. I've been watching you work in there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not watching you work. I've been actually doing my work, but I walk by and you're doing your work. We're both we get a lot done at WinCam. I mean, I knocked out a show and a half the other day, when you were there.
Yeah. Oh, I think I saw you on the computer over there.
Yeah, I was on 3. And 3, we've got 3 renovated, and it's awesome. It flies now.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So the creative people here at WinCam, we're generating stuff, but you've been working on this a while.
Yep.
How long will it be, the special?
The feature short film is about 20 minutes.
Okay.
So it's coming from, I filmed the entire event from front to back. I always had a camera going.
Which was 3, 4, 5, 6 hours?
6 hours, maybe. It started at 10:30, got over around 4.
Okay.
So I was constantly filming
one day?
Yep.
Okay.
Full day.
So now you're going to have a 20-minute short that will run on WinCam?
Yes. I actually previously did a trailer. Normally you take the trailer from the footage of the film, but I created this before I actually made the film.
Oh, good.
So it's kind of a predecessor to the movie, and that's already done. So I've got that up on my YouTube channel. You can watch it, and people are getting blown away by it because, when you see something from an event put into movie form, you see it in a whole different way.
YouTube.com, Golde Films?
Yes, Gold with an E.
Golde?
Yeah.
Films, Golde Films. Golde Films. So go into YouTube and book Golde Films. Do you have World Hypnotism Day on it?
Yeah, it will say WHD, which is the World Hypnotism Day, Massachusetts, because it's the Mass location event trailer.
So you can see what John's doing here at WinCam by going into your YouTube or going just on Google or Bing or whatever you use. His dog pile's still there, and
in between watching cat videos and Taylor Swift, which I do anyway, I'll admit it.
On my Twitter, it keeps saying friend Taylor Swift or follow Taylor Swift, but
I don't want to follow Taylor Swift. She should follow me. I do so much more interesting stuff. Right over there.
There you have it. And you can see that right on YouTube. This will go up on YouTube.
I hope so.
We'll have fun with this.
Yes.
What's your next project?
I don't know.
Will it have to do with your music?
I hope so. I'm kind of writing my own 5-song EP to, like I said, I used to play in bands, and I haven't done a show in so long, so trying to get back into that. It's so much fun. So I'm going to be filming maybe the making of my record in the studio, and then, editing the video later. It's a one-man job. It's all being done by me.
Do you have the computer at home and you play on that?
Yeah, I have Logic, which I do my music on. I have Final Cut on my computer, so it's me in a very nice leather chair, sitting there working on the computer for hours.
Now, did you learn Final Cut at the college?
They didn't teach Final Cut, no. They taught the basics of video production.
Okay.
The basic techniques. But everything I did on Final Cut was kind of just trial and error. You start with one thing, you have no idea where it's going to go, then you find yourself fixing it along the way, you get more and more ideas. Before you know it, you can't even keep up with your ideas, and you're in the studio for 8 hours a day. So I just kind of taught myself in the past couple of weeks really how to make it look good, and I'm just going to keep going.
I went to Suffolk University for film and journalism.
Great school.
Back in '72. I don't care. Terrible film course.
Really? Back then, or?
Not a great journalism course. They didn't teach typing, so I knew how to type, and one other person knew how to type in the room. And I had my feet up on the desk halfway through the course, and I'm reading the Boston Phoenix because I got my work done.
Yeah.
And they were all like, and I'm like, how can you have a college and have most of the students not knowing how to type, and there's no typing course?
Right.
Now, today, everyone knows how to type. Well, there's computers. Well,
yeah.
They were all typing.
They're going pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might not realize it, but they're typing away.
Right now, you learn to type right around the age of 2. You make your first YouTube video right around 3, and you become an expert by high school. Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, oh yeah, I got my phone here too.
I don't text much, people. I have texting on here only because people text me, and so I don't want to. And they're important messages. I texted you. Did you get it? No. You know.
Yeah.
So now I have text on my phone, but I don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all like we said when we started the show. Everything's so fast. The flat screens come in, and the digital music comes in, and the earbuds, but they're producing these records for the earbuds, just as radio produced for the transistor, and then for FM. And you know, Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones would go into the limousine with Jimmy Miller, and they would listen to Tumbling Dice. And Jimmy told me that he had to mix it 42 times. Like
compress it, or just
mix the record. Yeah, mix the record. It's one of the best, because I was playing it in the house. I used to represent Jimmy Miller. He did 104 songs for the Stones.
Wow.
So he'd walk into the house in Woburn.
Mm-hmm.
I lived up near the post office in Coles up there.
Okay.
So I lived behind the post office. So Jimmy would walk in, and I'm playing Tumbling Dice. Get that off! And I go, it's my favorite production by you. He goes, I had to mix that 42, 45 times.
Holy cow.
And he told me, they'd get in the car, and it's in Robert Greenfield's book, Exile on Main Street.
This is 42 different times, or just
45, 42 times, 45 times. He'd have to go in and remix the record. Because Mick Jagger was a perfectionist about singles.
Uh-huh.
And what they did, and this is fascinating, and it's one of the great mixes of all time. It's the Rolling Stones' Tumbling Dice. At the end of the record, Charlie Watts' wife was pregnant, was having the baby in France. Or maybe it was in California. I forget. Jimmy was mixing in California. She might have been in France, where they had recorded maybe the basics. I'm not sure. I have to go check the record album. But anyways, I believe he's mixing in California.
Okay.
And Charlie Watts isn't around, so Jimmy was a drummer. That's how he started in the music business. And so at the end of, when you hear "Got to Roll Me," you know the song? Call me the tumbling, got to roll. Rolling Stones classic.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The drums kick back in. It's Jimmy Miller on the drums at the end of the record.
Okay.
So it's amazing. He's got the chicks like howling and wailing, that got to roll me. And it's just this amazing mix. And he told me how long the process was, that they just kept mixing and mixing and mixing until it was a diamond.
Yeah.
But they'd get in the limousine, travel around Los Angeles, and the radio station would say, we've got the world premiere of the Rolling Stones before the record's even out.
And it's not done.
It was and Keith Richards said, I like it, and Jimmy Miller said, I like it. And
Mick didn't like it?
Mick says, back to the drawing board, it's not done.
Yeah.
But it's a great, and now
that's
look
an artist.
All the years later, I'm in my house saying it's my favorite production, and he's telling me, I had no idea he mixed it that many times. He probably had no idea someone would love it that much.
Now, what was it about that specific mix that stuck out to you?
Well, it was just it wasn't the mix, because I didn't know there were 41 other mixes.
Okay.
It was just the record was a great record.
Yeah, yeah.
And you put it on, and he says the magic is, Joe, that Charlie speeds up. So, you start at one pace, but you got the human element. Jimmy hated the
Oh, they don't use a click?
No, it's the Rolling Stones, man.
This is back in the day.
They were sloppy.
I'm so behind the time.
They were intentionally sloppy. They'd go in and
I knew they were sloppy.
They but it was intentional. It was part of the magic.
Right.
Because, at the beginning, I think they were very precise if you listen to those early albums. And they realized sloppier, if it's great, it's great. And so
it sells in rock and roll.
They'd write a song, Mick and Keith. They'd go in and lay down the basics. And then they'd put that aside, and they'd start working on the basics they cut the night before.
Okay.
So they staggered it, and they had like tons of songs for Exile on Main Street. But it's nice knowing how the records were crafted, how they were really made, especially if you really love it that much.
Right. Back in the day, it was a whole different process. I think they still do that with some bands, don't they? Independent bands still kind of do the...
there's some great records coming up, but they're independent artists that are real artists, and they'll spend a ton of money in a studio, and they'll just get it right. And it breaks my heart that you're not hearing it on the radio.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And you'll see it on YouTube, but a lot of them just don't get the chance that 1 Pound Fish got. Do you know about 1 Pound Fish?
I don't.
You've never heard the term?
No.
Okay, this is fascinating. I read about it in the news. Go to
I'm so behind the
Google.
times, man.
Well, go to Google and put 1PO, and 1 pound fish will come right up.
Okay.
It was this fish seller from Pakistan, a Pakistani guy in England.
Like a fish, an actual fish?
A guy who's selling fish in the fish market.
Okay.
And his boss yelled at him and said, "You must yell at the customers, fish, 1 pound fish." And he wouldn't yell at the customers. So he came up with a ditty, 1 pound fish, 1 pound fish for all the ladies. And people loved it, and they were videotaping him, as the legend goes, put it up on YouTube, and it got tons and tons of hits. He now has a record deal. He's got huge royalties. There's been covers on this.
Was it like auto-tuned and remixed, or was it just this guy yelling out his kind of little...
It was just a YouTube of him doing his thing in the market. Now he's very wealthy.
Good for him.
From YouTube. So look up 1 pound fish.
1 pound fish.
It is the Blair Witch Project of music.
Which is, it's rough to say.
Well, Blair Witch Project wasn't any good.
Exactly. Well,
but the marketing campaign was genius.
Yes. And it was one of the first of, modern day films that were shot like that. I don't know what you call those. First person, I guess? Something like that, the way it was shot.
They say it was shot.
It was the first I noticed.
They paid $1 million to upgrade it, but it almost put me to sleep. I only went to see it because of the marketing.
Oh, it was a terrible movie. But it was one of the first, that were shot like that, and I think that's what kind of drew the attention. And then you had to come out with a sequel, because how can you possibly get better than the first one? And they did. The special effects were incredible in that movie.
Have you seen Oz the Great and Powerful?
No, didn't that just come out?
Yeah.
Visually, it looks pretty impressive.
That's it.
Yeah?
Visually, it's impressive.
That's it? Or that's it?
It dabbles with genius. It kind of hints at genius, and if that's the bullseye, it misses the mark. But it did $80 million last week, and more overseas. The reason I brought it up was the budget was $205 million, and they've spent about another $95 million on promotion.
How much is it going to bring in? Is the question.
They got to bring in $500 million to break even on this thing.
Do you know what it's up to so far?
It's up to about $120 million worldwide.
That's not bad.
No,
for a weekend.
Yeah, so it's a 1/5 of a little more than 1/5 of the way there. This weekend's the crucial weekend.
Yeah.
For if it has legs, because it will bring in a whole new generation of Oz movies. It'll do more.
And I'm sure it's in 3D.
It is.
Yeah, that's probably got to be pretty cool to watch in 3D.
Now, the beauty of this is I went to the theater last Tuesday night, a week ago Tuesday, was the film premiere in Boston. So the critics, that's when the critics had the screening.
Yeah.
So, but they had the public there too at the Fenway Theater.
Okay.
And like the Phoenix will give away tickets, and Kiss 108. But it wasn't packed. I got there like early because even the critics, we can get shut out if it's an overwhelming run on tickets.
Right. First come.
Sometimes the movie people from the company keep the 2 rows for us, but I always sit in the front row, so I don't go to the critics row.
Yeah.
Unless I have to.
Yeah.
But sometimes
like Democrats and Republicans.
Huh?
It's like Democrats and Republicans, keep them apart.
But it wasn't packed, but there was a big audience and big enough. I get to sit in my front row by myself, which is nice.
That's cool.
And I'm watching the 3D of the Oz the Great and Powerful, and it was brilliant. It was genius. The beginning is the intro. You are going to love it. It is hypnotism. It is going back to Kansas. It's in black and white, but the credits are stunning in black and white.
So it kind of draws back to the...
You're inside the tornado just watching the opening credits.
Oh, don't ruin it. I haven't seen it yet.
No, I'm just giving you the intro.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool, actually.
I'm not ruining it at all. I'm giving you the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
That's all. No.
All incentive to go see it, not to see it,
It's very Avatar. They really copied Avatar's world of Avatar.
Really?
So that's all I'll say.
The whole mystical...
Well, no. When you watch the 3D, you think you're back at the Avatar planet.
Okay.
The land of Oz.
Pandora.
Yeah, it's like Pandora.
Yeah.
It's even the waterfalls and stuff. They definitely made Oz after Avatar, so they want the 3D thing. But where James Cameron didn't go in your face with the 3D, you'll notice they do play with the 3D imagery.
Yeah.
So it's a fun movie in that, you might have a different opinion, so I'm not going to give you my opinion, but it is a fun movie. There are fun elements in it that I think it'll do well, even though it could have been a masterpiece.
It's not a masterpiece?
Nope.
It's hard to have a masterpiece now.
No, I'll tell you how they could have done it. All they had to do was really embrace the original Wizard of Oz, which Sam Raimi, the director, said he did.
Mm-hmm.
But
it wasn't really integrated with the original story?
It is integrated. It's a prequel, so it actually tells you all the stuff you need to know before you get... Because L. Frank Baum had a lot of books. You know about the books, right? Oh, the L. Frank Baum had written a ton of books on Oz.
Is he the one that wrote the original story?
Right, and he directed the original silent.
Okay.
One of the original, there's like 4 silents, which we're going to play here at WinCamp.
I had no idea. This
Yeah,
is a
so-
history lesson too, you know? Pay attention.
I think we played the Oz movies here 3 years ago. I'm going to bring the Oz movies back because we do Friday night public domain movies.
Okay, cool.
Now, if you don't mind, we have our author that's going to talk to us.
Love to.
And he's going to talk about the 39 Steps with Alfred Hitchcock, which we're playing here at WinCam. And the weird thing is, I told the audience last week, I've known Frank for years and years, but he's been on the show for 2 years, and I still don't remember his phone number. Is that hilarious?
Did he text it to you?
No, it's in my Rolodex here. My little phone Rolodex, but it's just, I should know it.
That's okay. You're typing out the number like the old-fashioned way. I respect that.
Yeah, because I don't want the audience hearing me.
So we're going to get him on the line.
Yo, Frank Alestrito talking about movies.
Frank, say hi to Golden Films, John Goldsmith.
Gold Films.
Gold Film.
Hey, and what is Golden Films known for?
Golden Films is a children's film industry. Gold Films is this guy.
He's doing a movie, a short documentary on hypnosis, World Hypnosis Day. World Hypnotism Day.
World
Yes.
Hypnosis Day. I'm glad you told me. I would have missed it all.
It was January 4th.
6th
His was 6th, but January 4th was World Hypnotism.
is the official event, is the official day, yeah.
And what happens on this day? Do people walk around hypnotized?
Yeah, I walked around hypnotized. There were 7 or 8 speakers. They all did, there were 2 stage shows. And they had a room outside selling all the kinds of books and doing holistic, mind tests and all this crazy stuff was going on. But, you really learn to appreciate it, and it was a fun time.
Okay, well, I will not let myself be hypnotized because I'm afraid. Am I
Oh, you don't have a choice. It's going to happen. We all are hypnotized.
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I celebrate it without even knowing it then.
Yeah, absolutely. 7 times a day.
Okay. All right.
That's an inside thing. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Now, Frank, tomorrow we're talking about the 39 Steps, which is a week from tomorrow,
Yes.
which will be the 22nd. But tomorrow's Sabotage, right?
No, we did Sabotage. Tomorrow... Oh, God, Joe, you're making me remember what last week's movie we talked
The
about?
Ring. I think the Skin.
Joe, you got me. I forget what last week's...
It was Skin Deep or something. The Skin. Alfred Hitchcock. Well, we got the 39 Steps today.
Okay, yeah, I think, well, we've done the skin game. I honestly don't remember that was last week's movie or not. Today is the 39 Steps. And just to make sure we don't get any angry emails, the Hitchcock cameo is about 6 to 7 minutes in the movie.
Okay.
When the 2 leading actors, Robert Donat and Madeline Carroll, go outside of the theater for a bus, you'll see a heavy man walk by and toss a piece of paper as if he's a litter bug, and that is Alfred Hitchcock. And he's much bigger than we tend to think of him. He was in his 1930s, he was quite heavier than he was when he did the television show in the 1950s.
I thought he was thinner in the 30s. Okay, you've taught me something here.
No, he was quite large.
And why did Alma marry him if he was so large?
Oh, I let's see. I think he was larger than 20. I don't know. Maybe she was a chubby chaser. I don't know.
Just asking.
Okay. Because I'm ashamed to say this. It's been a long time since I've even seen a picture of Alma, so I don't know what she was like.
I never knew there was an Alma till these 2 movies came out, The Girl and then the the Psycho one there. What was that called? Hitchcock?
Hitchcock and the Girl, with
Yeah.
the two recent portrayals, and she's in both of them, I guess. But you should read the movie credits, because on most of Hitchcock's movies, including this one, she is given a credit for continuity, which means she helped a lot with the script. And she, as we said in earlier shows, she was very shy and retiring, didn't particularly want a screen credit, certainly wouldn't want to do a cameo with him, but she was happy to work on the scripts, and apparently she was very good at it, and he relied on her a lot.
I heard that.
In that sense, the Hitchcock movie, as far as I know, got it right, because Helen Mirren plays Mrs. Hitchcock, and she's an integral part of the team, and that is, to all my best knowledge, that is true. So anyway, look out 6 or 7 minutes before the plot really gets under the way. There's some gunfire in the theater. Everybody runs outside. They get a bus, and just before they get the bus, look for Hitchcock. He tosses a piece of paper in the gutter.
Now, gunfire in the theater. This is long before the Batman Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, and your point is?
My point is, I didn't know that there was a movie with violence of gunfire in a movie theater.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yep, well, I mean...
I never watched the 39 Steps, sad to say.
Okay, well, you're in that case, by all means, watch it when you can. It is one of Hitchcock's best movies. Some people think it's his best, and it was a big hit, and this is the movie that started him on the path to Hollywood. After this, Hollywood couldn't ignore him. He had made some successful movies in Britain.
His breakthrough.
To be sure, but after this, it was only a matter of time when they lured him over, which they did 4 years later. But more important than is, this is Hitchcock's real first, when he gets into his favorite plot. That is the man wrongly accused, the police are chasing him, the police are no help. It seems hopeless that he'll be able to clear himself. And when you watch this movie and you watch North by Northwest with Cary Grant next to it, North by Northwest in some ways seems a remake. It's a very similar plot. And I won't say any more in case people have seen that, the second movie, not the first. And the Saboteur, the Robert Cummings movie Hitchcock made that you've shown a while back, not as part of this series. I think you showed it about a year ago. That's the same type of plot. And this was something that really resonated with Hitchcock. Legend says that when he was a boy, about 10 years old, his father sent him to the local police station pick up something from a friend. Well, his friend was a police officer. And as a joke, they put him in a cell and locked it. And you know, this was terrifying to a 10-year-old boy, and Hitchcock never liked it. And you can, of all the movies he made, you can probably count on one hand the movies in which the police are any help at all in solving the crime. Apparently that stayed with him. If it's true, it might just be a story that was made up. I can't verify it. You'll have to go back and check the biographies to see how much you believe it. But that is it. But even if it's not true, it kind of brings up, with this movie, Hitchcock found that when authority turns against you, it's particularly chilling to a movie audience. And they really root for the hero who becomes truly alone in this. And that hero is played by Robert Donat, who the 30s was really his decade. He's just had a big hit with The Count of Monte Cristo, which he made in Hollywood. He didn't like Hollywood. Getting him back there was like pulling teeth. He didn't particularly like making movies. He liked to stay on stage. He had a real asthma problem, but it's unclear whether he didn't make more movies because of his asthma or he used it as an excuse to get out of roles he didn't want to play. But he made a few good movies in the 30s, and then he becomes a lot scarcer thereafter, and he dies a relatively young man and at the age of 53. But he's at his crest now, and this is a movie. And when you see this movie, he has all the charm and personality that a Hitchcock villain needs. And you know, even though he's got his back to the wall through most of the movie, he glides back and forth between a comic touch and a deadly serious touch very well. This is an outstanding performance. And his co-star is Madeleine Carroll, who my guess is not one moviegoer in 100 today would know who Madeleine Carroll was. And or those that could probably not name more than one or two of her movies. So you've actually shown two of them. You're showing this one next week, and you showed The Secret Agent a few weeks ago.
And 15 seconds, Frank.
15 seconds? What can I say in 15 seconds?
Well, I'm going to say thank you very much for this Hitchcock series. You were very knowledgeable on it. I think you did us all a great service, and I appreciate your hard work on this.
Okay, that's a good 15 seconds. Madeleine Carroll is the first of Hitchcock's cool blondes. It all started with her.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And thank you, John, for being part of the show tonight.
Absolutely, yeah.
Views and opinions of visual radio are those of the host, the guests, and not necessarily those of anyone else. Jodie Kellerman, thank you very much. John, it was a pleasure having you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
You're welcome to come back. We're here every Thursday night. We have fun.
I'd love to.
Good luck with this short movie. And next week, we've got another guest.